Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 20 of A View to a Kakuranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Ninja Sentai Kakuranger. Every week we watch an episode of the show, we share our thoughts with you, the listeners. My name is Matt J. With me as always is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how are you doing today?
Good, man. Pretty good. Pretty chill. It's a relaxed kind of day, which is nice. Well, it's kind of for me at least, it's like the calm before the storm, Matt, because the spring show is about to start up. So my whole world is about to explode into high school Shakespeare for like the next 2 months.
That sounds very exciting. I feel like that's also going to make it a little tough for us to find new stars to talk about every week. Yeah, if that's all you're doing.
I don't do a whole lot when the show's on, so look forward to a bunch of updates about Much Ado About Nothing, which. Actually, okay, I was joking about it. I'm pretty psyched about the show. We just did the auditions this last week, and the kids who are doing it are great. I think it's going to be really cool.
Nice.
But how are you? How are you, man?
Oh, dude, everything's a mess. I went to I went to the fancy tea store the other day to get my fancy green tea, but they were out of it.
Oh, you mean like a serious mess? Okay, jeez.
Yeah. So I went to the. Listen, I know. Okay. There's no good way to make a complaint about not getting the right green tea, because like there's some stuff going on right now, but in my world there's
a few things happening.
Yeah, sure. But listen, talking about those things are not what we do. What we do is I complain about my green tea situation. And in my green tea situation, Dave, I went all the way out to the fancy tea shop that I can only go to on the weekend because it's not open when I get home from work. And I went to go buy my fancy green tea because I'm out. And they were also out. I prefer the gunpowder variety. Maybe that's just my preference, but they didn't have it. So I had to buy a different fancy green tea, which, listen, is it good? Of course it's good. I went to the fancy store. But it wasn't the one that I prefer. And it's thrown off my whole week, Dave. Thrown off the entire week.
Well, Matt, it's a rough world out there. And some people just have to, it's not fair. I'm not saying it's fair or right, Matt, but just some people have to deal with a lot of really intense hardships in life. And I'm sorry that you're one of those people.
Yes, that is me. Also one of those people dealing with stuff. That's my struggle, Dave. And now I feel extra bad about having complained about it at all. But let's move away from my moment of shame and discomfort and talk about today's episode of Ninja Sentai Kakuranger, the Flowery, Kunoichi-Gumi.
Nice! I am psyched that they're back. Those are great ladies.
They are great ladies. I'm very excited to see them again.
They're cats now, currently, I guess, but whatever.
Maybe we will discover today if there are peoples who turned into cats or cats that got turned into ninja ladies. I don't know if that's going to get solved today. I would be super
psyched to know that information.
But before we get into any of that, Dave, shining in the heavens, there are 5 stars. What is our first star of the week?
So our first star of the week, Matt, is we had talked about it a little bit before, but we had really only seen previews. But we did go to see XXX, The Return of Xander Cage. And I don't think I speak too strongly when I say it was a cinematic tour de force.
It was a piece of art. And listen, it might not be your favorite movie.
That's the only fair way.
Because here's the thing about a movie like XXX, The Return of Xander Cage. First of all, you have to say the full title every time, because otherwise you're stuck saying, have you seen the new XXX movie? Which is going to be a very different conversation, and maybe not the one that you meant to have.
Almost definitely not.
Is that XXX, The Return of Xander Cage? It is not a comedy. I think I laughed more throughout the course of that movie than I have at the theater in a very long time. Just because, like, all of the stuff that happens in that movie is just non-stop, like, just pure joy and excitement.
It's amazing. Okay, so listen, we talked I think about the preview a little bit, but it is basically there is no top over which XXX The Return of Xander Cage will not go. The dialogue is, let me be clear, the dialogue is not good.
No, I wouldn't
in the
call
sense
it
of
good, like in a traditional sense.
Let me rephrase that. Matt, it's not good. It's not good, but it is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see what I'm
does
saying?
Exactly what it is supposed to do for this movie.
Yeah, exactly. So at one point, and I think this is in the preview, XXX is assigned a team of dudes who are supposed to be like his posse and like help him do his thing. And he kicks them out of a plane. And then the person to whom he is answering says like, all right, well, who do you want like as your team? And his answer is, I believe, and help me if I'm wrong here, Matt. Okay, so he's on he's on this plane with these guys that have been like assigned to be his team, and he's like, nah, I don't like these guys. And so he kicks them out of the plane, like he attaches a parachute to them and kicks them out of the plane. And then he says, I'm not going to have clowns watching my back. And then the person who he's like his handler, I guess, says, all right, well then who do you want? And his answer is the good, the extreme, and the completely insane.
Which
and
not
by this
is perfect. That also sounds like the name of like the best like modern remake of a Western.
So this is who he gets for his team. Ready? He has a sniper, like a lady sniper. He has a dude
Dave, hold on. Is she a lady sniper who never misses her mark?
She is, in fact, a lady sniper who never misses her mark. Dang. Deep cuts, Xander Cage. Well done. Didn't know you were a fan of Super Sentai. So a lady sniper who never misses her mark, and then a dude who is like their wheelman who loves crashing his car, played by Roy McCann, who I really like, and then a Chinese DJ who's like everybody else has like a special ability, and literally his superpower is like fun to be around. Like he's a rocker boy. He's a cyberpunk rocker boy, and that is what this dude brings to the team. Like he just parties the best.
Right, and you would expect that at some point in the movie he was going to break out like crazy kung fu moves or something. No. Donnie Yen is in the movie for crazy kung fu moves. Like, that angle is covered. This guy's literal entire job is just to be a good time.
Yeah, it comes up. It's amazing. I just like the whole rest of the movie is incredible. It makes so little sense. It is just a vehicle for Vin Diesel to like say awesome things and be Xander Cage. Sam Jackson is in the movie. He's great. And he's reprising his role from the 2002, like the original movie. But since then, Sam Jackson has also played Nick Cage. And then there's like a pretty funny, not Nicolas Cage.
Although I would
Nicolas
love to
Fury.
see a movie in which Samuel L. Jackson played Nicolas Cage.
Sorry, not Nick Cage, Nick Fury. Sam Jackson has played Nick Fury in the Marvel movies. And then there's some pretty funny like plays on that in Xander. Just watch it. Just go see the movie.
It's a great movie, dude. After that, I got so excited about watching Vin Diesel movies. I went home and like the next day watched The Last Witch Hunter, which I think we've actually talked about on the show before, but I hadn't seen it.
We discussed it, and I just, because we like Vin Diesel a lot. There's no shame in that.
No, there's no shame in that at all. He's a very popular movie star. And listen, even if you don't like him, Vin Diesel is probably better at his job than you are at your job. So that's just a truth that you're going to have to live with.
Yeah, not to get harsh on you, but it's probably true.
Dude, I think what the thing is that he started up in his game real early.
Super early.
And so like we're all playing catch up on that Vin Diesel train.
Dude, we were reading about like how, because we watched Mark and I and you watched the first XXX movie last weekend. And this is not a joke. This is how Vin Diesel got started in the theater. Ready? When he was a kid, he was like 7 or 8 years old, he and some friends broke into a theater to vandalize it and got caught by the stage manager or something who was like, don't vandalize the show, be in the show, which is like the most theater person thing to do.
That's tremendous.
Vin Diesel was like, Yeah, because I assume his voice was always as low as it is right now. And he's just, yeah. And then that was it. And that set him off on a life of like international superstardom.
Dude, that is amazing. That I feel like is the best possible version of the story, the best Christmas pageant ever.
Yeah. Where it just turns out that one of those kids is Vin Diesel.
Okay, we've been talking about this movie for a long time. What's our second star of the week?
Okay, well, we will try to make it quick, Matt, but our second star of the week is I rewatched Mystery Men the other day.
Oh, is it still good?
It's still amazing.
Oh,
like,
I'm so
I don't
glad
know
to
if,
hear that.
I don't know if you remember, actually. It's actually better than I remembered it being, because I hadn't seen it in ages, but it's so good. It's so good. It's so funny. If you've never seen it, it's a movie about like these kind of schlubby guys who are trying to be superheroes, and they sort of manage to pull it out in the end. But it's sort of like Ben Stiller, William H. Macy, Kel Thompson is on there. No, not Kel Thompson. Kenan Thompson is the other guy. Kel Mitchell. Kel Mitchell is in there. Janine Garofalo.
Is that Hank Azaria?
It's Hank Azaria is in it. Janine Garofalo before she was like awful.
I think that was peak Janine Garofalo.
Yeah, that was the real, like, that was the ideal spot of that and Wet Hot American Summer, I think, are the two high points for me of Janine Garofalo-ness.
Yeah, dude, that movie is great. Do you remember when we went to go see that movie in the theater and we weren't able to watch the last like 20 minutes of it because the film melted in the projector, and they were just like, well, I guess the movie's done now. And we just didn't see the end of Mystery Men for like 2 more years.
Yeah, and they didn't even give us like passes, or they didn't give us like free. No. We did get to see the end of it. We just had to wait like 45 minutes while they like got the other film over and like spliced it, or I don't know exactly what they did.
Oh, that's right. We did see the end of it. We just didn't. There was like 5 minutes of the movie that we never saw.
Yeah, and they didn't give us like free movie passes or anything, which I'm still like low grade sore about. But
well,
this
that movie theater's been closed for 15 years, so thankfully it can no longer like vex you. You won, Dave. You won.
But yeah, this was back when movies were actually on like celluloid, and just something went wrong with the reel, and it got stuck in front of the insanely bright hot light that they used to project those movies, and it literally just melted. We watched it. It was actually kind of cool.
It was cool. It was in fact so cool that in the moment, I really thought that it was like a scene transition like effect.
Yeah, we were very confused. And then there was somebody just came in and were like, sorry, everyone, the movie's melted. And then who else? Oh, Geoffrey Rush. Geoffrey Rush is in that movie. He plays Casanova Frankenstein, which I did not realize when the first time we saw it. So yeah, it's actually kind of an all-star cast, and it's amazing, and you should go watch it. That's really it. It's just this old movie. It came out in 1999. This movie's almost 20 years old. Can you believe that?
Dude, I can believe it. I think it's not the same year The Matrix came out.
Holy crap, it is.
Anyway, let's not dwell on that. Let's not dwell on that thing that makes us feel old, Dave. What is our third star of the week?
Well, Matt, I actually have bad news for you if you don't want to feel old, because let me bring that old to the table. That was a weird way to say that. So I'm effectively an old man. Yeah, bring that old heat. The old strong? I don't know. Anyways, so I'm effectively like a 60-year-old man, right? We've established this.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you're literally a 34-year-old man.
Yeah. I'm not
33?
I'm 34. Yeah. Sorry, it took me a moment. Fun fact, those of you who maybe listen to this show and are not in your 30s, eventually you stop paying attention to birthdays, because you're like, I still celebrate my birthday. I just don't keep real good track of like how old I actually am, because like who cares at this point? Anyways, so I don't hang out on Reddit at all.
Sure, seems like a good call.
Yeah, it's working out super well for me so far. Like, I go to Reddit, but I just like scroll around. I am not like a Redditor, right?
Sure.
But I did just discover, and like, bear with me, and I've already prefaced this by saying that I'm an old man. I did just discover subreddits.
Wait, so you just discovered a particular subreddit, or you just discovered the fact that subreddits exist?
No. Sorry. Like, I So I knew that like subreddits existed. Like I knew that this was a thing. What I did not know is like how many subreddits perhaps there were, and like how intense, like you could just, there's a lot of subreddits is what I'm saying. And I found out that there's a woodworking subreddit.
Aha. Now I know why you were saying that you feel like an old man.
Yeah,
like, yes,
this is
I've just discovered.
I've discovered
on this
subreddits.
webbing site
Right.
that you can keep going deep down into the further depths, and there are other men who enjoy working wood.
Yeah, that's precisely, I didn't say it in those exact words, but I found I was like, no way, this is amazing. And it's all these guys doing cool stuff. And here is, okay, so obviously people are posting things, and they're posting like these sort of like incredible, beautiful pieces that like I cannot make. But the really cool thing is, even with the most complicated pieces, like most complicated, like beautiful pieces that I'm seeing people post, nobody's put anything up that I'm looking at it and I'm just like, I literally have no idea like how you could even do that. Like everything I see, I'm like, oh, I understand the theory of what you've done there. I just don't have like the hand skill to make it happen. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Yes. So it's just like, oh, well, that's actually very cool that I do have a little bit, maybe not like quite so not behind the times, but you know what I'm saying? Like not quite so behind the times as I sort of was in my head. So that was a very cool thing. That's really it. I'm an old man, and I discovered that like other old people also, they're not all old, actually. A number of them are a bunch really young, but I discovered on the websites that you can, that's the whole thing. I just dig it. Right. So
thank you for that, Dave.
What, Matt, is our fourth star of the week?
Fourth star of the week, Dave, is actually another throwback a la Mystery Man. I think this was pre-Mystery Man. Anyway, Crystal Pepsi's back, and I bought one, and I know that I shouldn't have, because I think I may have said in a public forum at one point after I bought Surge that I was never going to buy another nostalgia soda, but then I saw Crystal Pepsi and I bought it, and guess what, guys? It's still Pepsi. It still just tastes like Pepsi, but with no color.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I don't know why I bought it. I don't love Pepsi.
I wonder if the LA... Okay, so we may have talked about the LA Beast on the show before. He is a YouTube guy that just does, just like just bad things. Not bad things,
he's just
like
a guy who makes mistakes on YouTube.
Yes, yeah. It's like one of my favorite styles of YouTube show. And he was like a big crusader, because one of his first big videos is that he drank like a 20-year-old Crystal Pepsi and almost died or threw up a bunch. And then he just decided that this was going to be one of his things. Yeah, he just decided that this was going to be one of his things. And he made like a giant music video. Like he kickstarted a music video, put together like, I don't know, $20,000, and made this big music video like beseeching PepsiCo to bring back Crystal Pepsi. And so I guess they are. So
I guess good for the Beast.
Good for him. Well, listen, man, it's nice that something, I mean, he seems to be doing fairly well. He probably digs his life, but okay. I just did a quick YouTube search for LA Beast because I haven't watched any of his videos in like a minute. And let's see. Most jars of mayonnaise consumed in 10 minutes while watching Two Girls, One Cup.
Yep. I thought I was going to be prepared with like a quip after you said that. Like I was going to be able to like have a joke in the chamber. And then when you said that, I could be like, oh, you silly man, or something like that. But no, you have effectively short-circuited my brain with how colossally stupid that sounds.
Hot ice experiment goes terribly wrong. Did I just create a new way to...
have gone terribly wrong. I don't think any of these have gone terribly right. I think they've just all been terrible.
Did I just create a new way to chug beer? Hashtag Chug Drill 5000.
Oh, good, because the Chug Drill 4000 was really out of date.
LA Beast eats a cactus.
With the spines?
I would assume so. LA Beast drinks a gallon of Tabasco sauce.
Okay, we need to stop talking about this and start talking about something that is, I kid you not, more reasonable, which is Ninja Sentai Kakuranger.
Wait, Matt, 5th star. What's our 5th star of the week?
Oh, sure. Speaking of Ninja Sentai Kakuranger, brief programming update. We are on YouTube now. It's literally just the podcast that you're already listening to, but the audio is being sent to YouTube as well as iTunes and the other locations. I don't know if that is a thing that people want. I don't know why that was an option on Libsyn, but it was. So we took advantage of it. So if you are looking for listening to this again, but in a slightly different format, go ahead and check us out there if you want. Right on. That's all I got. It was a very short star, which is good because the rest of them have all been very long, and we need to stop talking about this stuff right now. Dave, we're going to take a break. We're going to watch episode 20, the Flowery Kunoichi-Gumi. Dave, you say it, please.
The Flowery Kunoichi-Gumi. And we will be right back.
Okay, welcome back. So we have just finished watching episode 20 of Ninja Sentai Kakuranger, the Flowery Kunoichi-Gumi.
Kunoichi-Gumi. Kunoichi-Gumi.
Kunoichi-Gumi. Thank you. And I'm sorry.
Yep. No problem.
The Flower Lady Ninjas. Anyway, it's them. They're back.
They're back!
And so is my problem with being able to say their name for reasons I cannot describe to you. There's a lot of stuff that I can say, and for whatever reason, I cannot say their names. And I apologize now. It's going to come up again, probably.
My notes just have them as the KG, because Kunoichi-Gumi is a lot to try to type when you are taking notes on a Super Sentai episode.
Oh, yes.
So this episode opens, and it's just like a shopping area, and there's this kid gets home from school, we would assume. He walks into a shop, and it's clearly like his family's shop, and his mom says, "Oh, good, you're home. Like, you have chores and then homework." And the kid says, "No, I need to go play," and so he leaves. And as he is walking out, like, to get his bike, he runs past another lady who, I'm not sure, it's maybe like his sister or like a neighboring shopkeeper or something. And she says, "Kid," she doesn't, does she give the kid's name? I forget.
The kid's name is Shinichi.
Maybe she does. So, but she says, "Shinichi, you need to study at some point." And the kid's like, "Butt out. I've got playing to do." And he runs away. He doesn't run away. He's on his bike.
My schedule is full.
Packed full of playing. Do not have time to study.
So we cut to down the street, Sasuke is walking out of a restaurant, and he's holding like a big bag of carry-out food.
No, Matt, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Sasuke is definitely not walking out of that restaurant. My dude Sasuke skips out of that restaurant. I don't know if you looked away to write something down in your notes. Like, he stops after a second, but he is 100%, he's frolicking out of this restaurant.
Good old Sasuke.
he does. He's skipping out. And he's got all these lunches, and he's like, "Man, why do I have to buy lunch?" And as he's walking out, the kid, Shinichi, runs by on a bike and like almost hits him. And Sasuke says, "Hey, watch where you're going." And the kid says, "You watch where you're going. I can't stop that quickly. I'm on a bike. This is not my fault."
Which, is one of those things that, listen, it is reasonable, but this kid is obviously like a brat kid.
Yeah, that's like the whole point of this kid. So the kid rides away, and Sasuke just is like, "What a brat kid." But then the kid reappears, and he is being chased by a car. Well, it looks like the car is just behind him, and the kid is trying to get away. And then the kid veers off, and the car follows him, and then it becomes very clear that the kid is actively trying to hit this kid. Or the car. The car is actively trying to hit the kid.
Right.
And then Sasuke, dive tackles the kid off of his bike, I think.
Yeah.
It saves him.
Just as the car would be about to hit him. So he's like, "Okay, I've saved the kid." Then the car backs up, sort of centers itself on Sasuke and the kid, and starts chasing the both of them. And they start running away.
Yes. So as they're running away, they see a wall. So they clamber up the wall, and then the car just, in its attempts to ram them, just rams into the wall. So they're safe now from the car. Sasuke jumps down and jumps into the driver's seat and is looking for whoever has done this, but the car is empty.
No driver in this car. And then out of nowhere, a vine covered in flowers whips out of, like, just off of camera and wraps itself around the kid and starts trying to drag him away. And the kid starts screaming, like, help, help, help. Sasuke runs over and gets him free of the vine. But then the vine is just, like, now the vine is chasing them. And it's actually a really cool effect because they're running away from this vine, right? But the way that they're, shooting the camera at it, I think what's probably happening is that they're literally just, like, they tied a piece of string or, like, fishing wire to this vine and are, like, dragging it behind a car. But the angle on the camera makes it look as though it's just, like, being, like, snaking along of its own accord. It's a very cool look.
It's pretty rad looking. And so they're, like, running away, and Sasuke is trying to call the Rangers to, like, help them out, like, on his Doran Charger. We flip up, and we see that the Kunoichi-Gumi are up on the roof, and now, in case it was not clear from A, the title, and B, the fact that this vine is covered in flowers, this is the Kunoichi-Gumi, like, this is their plan.
The back.
We go from there to Nekomaru, and I think it's Saizo, but I don't quite remember.
In my notes, it is Saizo.
Okay, so Saizo just says, hey, this is really weird. Sasuke's gone? Does anybody know what's up with, he was supposed to be back with lunch. We're all kind of hungry. Where's Sasuke?
Right, and I like the idea that, like, they do care about their friend, but the immediate thing that Saizo was worried about was like, man, when is lunch showing up?
Hey, listen, man. Saizo is the jughead, I feel like, of this group. So,
actually, that was Seikai.
Oh, that's right. Seikai is the jughead. Well, I don't know what Saizo's problem is. He's just a jerk. So we go from there back to Sasuke, and it's Sasuke and the kid, and they're just running away. And so Sasuke asks the kid, this is very reasonable. He's like, hey, kid, do you know anything that's going on? Is there a reason that because it's like, it's not that the Kunoichi-Gumi are just attacking. They are very clearly after this kid. And so Sasuke says, like, do you have any idea what's going on? I think there's, like, a veiled question in there, like, are you secretly a yokai, or, like, are you possessed or something?
Right. Like,
or is there, like, an
episode...
evil coin in your pocket?
Right.
Or did you, like, pick up a weird doll or something? Like, what is going on?
Like, this is episode 20. At this point, Sasuke is, like, primed for this sort of stuff. And he's just trying to figure out, like, how to crack the riddle.
So the answer is no. The kid's like, I have no idea what's happening. I don't know why, like, what's going on. And so he pulls out his door. Sasuke, not the kid. Sasuke pulls out his Doran Charger. Surprise, this is not the 6th Ranger. He pulls out his Doran Charger. He's like, I can't get through to anybody. Something must be blocking my signal. And then we see, like, a teleprojection is maybe the best way. Just like an image of one of the Kunoichi-Gumi appears.
Yeah, and by the way,
hovering over this building.
Just so let's get this out of the way now. There are 5 Kunoichi-Gumi, right? They are all like differently colored. They all have names. I do not remember which is which in any given circumstance. So,
oh, geez, no,
I don't know if they've
been at like 2 episodes.
Yeah, like I don't know if we're meant to find any of them like individually memorable. They do have names, but I apologize. I'm just going to be referring to them like as a collective.
Yeah, they do give us their names. Actually, later on in this episode, their names are, if you care, Ayame, Sakura, Suiren, Yuri, and Ran. Those are the 5 Kunoichi-Gumi. But
there you go. Yeah, like it's. I would love to know more, but I would love to know enough about these characters that I did have like a preference one to the other and like an idea as who they are individually. But at this point, I don't.
I would love for them to have their own show. Like, I would watch a show about the Kunoichi-Gumi. They're rad. So they start talking, and they're like, ha ha ha, we have blocked your Doran Charger, and we're going to kill you. We flip from there.
Well, okay, so let's elaborate on this a little bit. Because what they're saying is we have blocked the signal on your Doran Charger, but we're also using the same technology to track your Doran Charger. It's like a radio blocker / like radar tracking device. And we're doing both. So we are going to continue following you. Eventually, if you want to escape us, you're going to have to abandon your Doran Charger. Like, that's the only way that you're going to get away from us.
Yeah, because otherwise we will Like, we'll never stop and we'll find you and we'll kill you. Which is a pretty, like that's a pretty excellent plan if you can figure it out. And they have figured, they haven't figured it out. It's everybody's favorite scientist, Dr. Yagami. He figured it out.
Back.
So we flip with his weird hair and his strange ears. So we go from this little dialogue over to Dr. Yagami, who is tracking Sasuke on a bike.
Yeah,
sure.
Okay, here's what I love about Dr. Yagami. We've mentioned it before, but I think it always bears repeating, is that Dr. Yagami is a brilliant scientist, and he can create the most incredible inventions. But the thing about Dr. Yagami's inventions is that 100% of them are just like technology crap that you wear somewhere inconveniently on your body. So he's developed this way to like block the signal of a Doron charger and like really do all this stuff to mess up the Kakurangers. And the way that it is demonstrated is like this weird spinning antenna like thing that is on top of Dr. Yagami's head and a couple of blinking lights that he has strapped onto his bicycle. It's beautiful.
Yeah. The degree to which Dr. Yagami's inventions are hugely inconvenient cannot be overstated. So he is like, he's riding around, and then he hops on the phone with somebody. No, he doesn't. He'll do that in a minute. But he does find Sasuke. Like, he figures out where he is because they can track Dorons, which is what I've decided the particles are called that Doron chargers emit. Because
sure, why not?
Yeah, well, because Doron sounds like a particle, right?
Yes. It actually kind of does. And
I know.
As we've stated in the past, like, that makes as much sense as any other explanation.
So we go back, and it's the Kunoichi-Gumi again, and they're like, listen, Sasuke, we don't care about that kid. We want to kill you. However, like, this is the plan, is that we are going to, like, we will kill that kid, or we will never stop chasing that kid, and that is like the vector by which we will get to you. And then so the kid hears this too, and the kid's just like, well, I'm out of here, because if they want to kill you, effectively, like, they can have you, I'm out.
Right, like, so this does not involve me. They've got you, I'm going home.
So he bucks out, which is fantastic. And Sasuke chases him because he's like, no, this kid clearly doesn't understand. They are going to kill him, just not because, like, they care about him.
Right.
And we then flip up to the top. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say probably what you were about to say, which is that we cut to the top of the roof, and Young Noble Jr. pops out, and he's just, like, leaning over the edge of this roof, just, like, sort of casually holding his guitar and talking about how he's going to murder Sasuke, and it's going to be so good.
Yes. So we go from there. We see the Rangers, like, they're running around. They're just kind of like hitting different points of the city looking for Sasuke, but they can't find him. We go from there to the kid, Shinichi, right?
Yeah.
Shinichi. We go from Shinichi, we see Shinichi, and he runs into his family store, and he's just like, oh my gosh, Mom, you are never going to believe what happens. She's just like, no, I won't believe what happens. And he says, I was out playing, and someone tried to kill me. And she said, well, maybe you should have been home doing your homework. And he's like, no, I'm not messing around. Someone legitimately tried to kill me. And then the mom, like, loops around, and she says, well, it's maybe time for someone to try a little bit harder. And I thought what was going to happen is that she was going to, like, give him a whooping for not doing his homework. But what happens actually is so much better because she's a Kunoichi-Gumi. So she, like, throws off her clothes, and it was like, oh, it's a mom disguise, and it's just the ninja. And so she starts chasing him.
So he runs outside away from her, and he almost runs into that neighbor who he had bumped into in the beginning of the episode. And he's like, oh my gosh, I've got trouble. And she's like, oh yeah, you do. And then she turns into a Kunoichi-Gumi.
It's incredible. So he is about to run away, but then Sasuke catches up. So he does like a flying kick and kicks one of the Kunoichi-Gumi and grabs the kid. But then the Kunoichi-Gumi go to stab him, but then he does a clothes substitution and his clothes fall to the ground. And then he's already like halfway down the street in his ninja gear with the kid. Which I just thought about. It's amazing. Which I actually just thought about this is that means that he is actually he could like bring people with him, which I don't think he's ever done before. He could sort of like carry them along on his like deception transportation. However he does that, it's pretty rad.
Dude, it's episode 20. His ninja magic is strong by now. Maybe episode 1 Sasuke couldn't have done that, but they've just got all sorts of crazy ninja magic now, and I love it.
So he is, so he's running down the street, and then he just sees these ladies on bikes, like turn the corner and start riding towards him, and he immediately, and I'm sorry I keep mentioning these things, but it's such a departure. He sees these women on bikes, and not for 1 second does Sasuke get fooled. He just sees them. He's like, "Oh nope, those are the bad guys right there," and he just turns and runs away. Which is very strange in a Super Sentai show. Like, normally, like, even the flimsiest of disguises is enough to fool Rangers into, like, who is a good and bad guy. The Kakurangers are like, those are 5 ladies on bikes, and I'm fighting 5 ladies. Those are clearly the Kunoichi-Gumi, and I'm gone.
You know, I wonder if it's because they are ninjas, and so they are, like, already primed to know a lot about, like, deception and disguise and stuff, because that's their entire jam.
Ooh, I dig that. That would make sense to me. I'm pretty cool with that idea.
So he's running away from these 5 girls on bikes. And by the way, I would have to go back and watch this again, but I'm fairly confident that the 5 girls on bikes are not actually the same actresses who play the Kunoichi-Gumi, which seems crazy to me. Because why would you bother to get 5 extra people when you already have 5 people who you need who fit the bill for that particular role? You could have just put them in different clothing.
Because they're disguised, dude. Like, it's ninja transformation disguise.
Sure.
Something.
Okay.
So anyways. So Sasuke runs away. We go back to the Rangers, and the Rangers arrive. Somehow, they have managed to track Sasuke and this kid to the shop. And the mom and the neighbor...
somebody had heard, I think it was either like Seikai or Jiraiya, had, while they were running around, they had like heard a rumor like, oh, there was a big fight in front of this bakery. So they go find them.
Oh, right on. I missed that part. So the Rangers show up. They save the mom and neighbor, and they're like, oh, everything's fine. And we go from there to Sasuke and the kid. They're running around to this construction site.
Was it a construction site? I could not tell if it was like an unfinished building construction or if it was a parking garage. There was scaffolding around.
There was like scaffolding or something. I'm pretty sure it was a construction site, which like literally, even though a construction site is like a dumb thing, I literally don't even care because it wasn't a quarry or the docks or a factory. So
well, I mean, wait for that. But yeah, it was nice for a moment.
We'll get there, obviously. But for like a hot second, we were in a new location and I was just tickled. So they run into this construction site, and Sasuke makes like a real Bush League error. He starts running up to the top of the building. Sasuke, never run up. You get trapped. It's like, I don't know, adventuring 101.
Well, okay, but to be fair, he is ninja, and ninja can jump from rooftop to rooftop.
Ooh, okay, yes. Actually, sorry, Sasuke. Got a little ahead of myself there. Yeah, if you're a ninja, like rooftops is your ideal zone. So, my bad.
So they get up there and they're sort of like hiding in this little corner. And the kid is like, listen, I just want to leave. Like, they want you, they don't want me. This is all your fault. And Sasuke says, like, yeah, dude, you're right. This is 100% my fault. And I'm really sorry. But the problem is, if I leave you, like... He doesn't quite get all the way through saying this phrase, but the kid realizes what he's saying and he's sort of able to stop. He's like, if I leave you, these people are going to murder you just to get to me, and neither of us want that to happen, so I have to stay with you.
Yeah, and he says, I will protect you with my life. And then, so he pulls out his Doron charger, and there's this, like, it's a pretty dramatic moment, actually. He's, like, going back and forth, like, trying to weigh these options, because he's like, well, I know they're tracking me with the Doron charger.
Dave,
but if can
I interrupt for just a second? The name of the device is the Doron changer. It's what they use to change.
Oh yeah, I suppose it is. Matt, help me out here. Have I been saying Doron charger for like 20 episodes of this show?
You've at least been saying it for this episode.
I really feel like I have been saying Doron charger for 19 episodes of this show.
It is entirely possible. If so, I'm
Okay.
sorry I didn't bring it up before.
Okay, everybody stop listening for like a hot second. Mark, I am going to need you to go back and edit. Like, I'm just going to say Doron Changer, and then I'm going to need you to go back and edit this into like every episode of this podcast.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let's get it clean.
Yep, ready? Doron Changer. Doron Changer. Doron Changer. And I feel like out of those three, you should be good.
Okay, do you want to say one sort of like as a question? Like put a little different inflection on it?
Yeah. Sorry, wait. Doron Changer?
Yeah, you got it. Okay.
Okay, solid.
We are all set to go.
So he has his Doron Charger that he is
Dave,
like staring
at. Oh my
at. Matthew, thanks for putting the button on that joke. So he pulls out his Doron Changer. He's trying to decide. He's like, well, they're tracking me with the thing, but if I get rid of it, I can't Super Henge,
and also I can't summon Red Saruder.
Yeah, or Battle Saruder. So, but he ultimately decides. He says, "All right, I'm gonna get rid of it." So he kind of tosses it aside. He doesn't. He just puts it down, and he and Shinichi start running away. And like literally 3 seconds later, the Kunoichi-Gumi arrive and start like attacking him with shurikens.
Right, like they were clearly just waiting around the corner, like for him to put that down. And it is at this point that I have to ask what I think is a very good question. Why, instead of abandoning his Doron Changer, did he not use his Doron Changer and transform into Kakuranger Red? Because he would have been way more capable of fighting in that case. Like, I feel like that is a possibility that neither he nor the Kunoichi-Gumi really explored at any point.
No, I think they do mention. Well, they say it's like they're blocking it somehow, but they don't explicitly say that they're blocking him from using it to transform. But I feel like that's got to be the vibe, because otherwise, why wouldn't he have? Because like literally, like right now, as he is running away, they're like, "You threw away your Doron Changer. You're, like we'll kill you now." But I'm not joking. They attacked him like 2 seconds after he puts this thing down. It's literally maybe 5 to 10 feet away.
Right. He is still closer to it than they are to him. Like he could just turn around and grab it.
So I think we have to assume when they say that it's being blocked, that it is somehow also being blocked from like channeling Dorons and turning him into Kakuranger Red.
Okay. I will, for the good of this episode, accept that. Because it's the only part of this episode that doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah. So, the Sasuke and the kid, they manage to get away. And they're running. And the Kunoichi-Gumi are chasing them. And they get to, like, the edge of a building. And it's just Sasuke and the kid. And then they're surrounded by the Kunoichi-Gumi. Who all have swords. All the Kunoichi-Gumi have swords.
Mm-hmm.
But
then they also have a different weapon, which I was not anticipating.
Yeah. So rather than just, because again, show for babies, rather than just stabbing Sasuke, which would have been the obvious choice, one of them uses like a ninja mist attack.
It's a breath weapon. It's a Dungeons and Dragons breath weapon. She opens her mouth and like evil like gray like smoke blasts out and knocks Sasuke and Shinichi off of this building.
Yeah, it's superheated steam, which I think makes her a black dragon?
Ooh, I don't know.
I could be wrong about that.
The only one that I can ever remember is the amethyst lozenge that explodes.
Yeah, there's an amethyst lozenge. The iron dragon had like a cube of something, which was real dumb.
Was it a cube of poison gas? I know one of them had a cube of poison gas.
I think it's a cube of poison gas. No, wait.
No, that's the black
dragon.
The black
dragon has a superheated steam breath, I want to say.
Yeah.
So she's a bronze dragon.
Okay,
and
good to know.
So Sasuke like falls with the kid and they fall over the sides of the building and they fall in a bunch of boxes and so they're fine.
Well, okay, they're not exactly fine. Because you think that those boxes are going to break their fall. And then the camera pans out and you see that just like a piece of wood from one of those boxes has rammed itself through Sasuke's leg. And it's really grody.
Into Sasuke's leg. I don't know if it's through his leg, but the kid is like, he's like, you've got to get out of here. He's like, I don't, at this point, maybe you're just like better off running on your own because I just got stabbed in the leg. Then the kid says, no, like part of this is my fault, which isn't. But he says part of this is my fault because I've been cowardly, which again doesn't make much sense. But he's like, I'm going to stay with you. So the kid is with him.
And so the kid is sort of helping him run. Now, at this point, we do revisit our old friend, the quarry. And listen, sometimes you go to a quarry and it doesn't look like the quarry. It just looks like, like a rocky beach or like a wasteland or something. This time when they go to the quarry, like it is so clearly a place that people dig up for rocks that like I almost expected to see construction equipment.
Yeah, I actually, it's in my notes. I was like, why is there never any equipment in any of these things? It could also be a mine.
Yeah, but really, what's a mine other than
a mine is just a quarry
underground, right?
It's a very specific quarry. Okay, so anyway, so they're running. It's this very it's kind of a cool setup that they do because it's the quarry and then it's just like birds. We see some birds flying and then rocks. It's very quiet. So we really get the idea that this is sort of like a ninja fight, which I like. I like that they take parts of this episode and don't have background music. I think it's a cool choice as far as the show goes. So then there's exploding glitter, and the Kunoichi-Gumi, they do an attack, and then they jump up, and Sasuke says, like, you swine, how could you do this? And they introduce themselves. And Matt, I had the worst moment that I've had in a long time because the Kunoichi-Gumi jump up and they start saying, they're like, Hana Ninja, Ayame, Hana Ninja, Sakura, right?
Right.
And I was like, yeah. And so you know how sometimes in Super Sentai they will use English words?
Mm-hmm.
Like just to use them. And they said, Hana Ninja, Ayame. And I know that Hana is the Japanese word for flower.
Sure.
Like I remembered that from class. And then they said Hana Ninja. And I was like, why did I legitimately had this thought, Matt? I wish I could tell you this just as a joke, but it's totally true. I was like, well, they're using the Japanese word for Hana, but why are they just saying ninja?
Why are they using the American word for ninja?
I legitimately was like, it took me a second to remember that ninja is in fact a Japanese word that they just use. And I was like, no. But it took me to like the fourth Hana Ninja to remember that that's not English word.
Let me follow up with two statements. One, of course, the American word for ninja is American Ninja. As we've seen from such films as American Ninja.
Have you watched those movies?
And such television programs as American Ninja Warrior. So I think that's a fairly acceptable translation. Also,
well, I'm glad it's not just me then.
Literally until you brought this up, I thought for all the world, because like they say Hana Ninja, as you say, but the subtitle says Flowery Ninja, because that's what it translates to. But I legitimately thought they were saying in English Flowering Ninja.
Oh.
So we both did a bad job that time, Dave.
Yeah. So again, the Kunoichi-Gumi, their names are Ayame, Sakura, Suiren, Yuri, and Ran. And I don't know if that's ever going to come up again, but they have introduced themselves. So that's cool. So the Kunoichi-Gumi explained, they're like, this is how we are going to defeat you by separating you out.
Yeah, just like we're going to kill all of you one at a time.
Which, like, okay, I know that the Kakurangers are not big on, like, the power of five. Like, that's not one of their things. But this is a recurring theme through Super Sentai that I really, really love. Which is that all Super Sentai teams are strongest when it's all five of them. And not just because, like, well, five people is better than one. Like, the sum of a Sentai team is greater than its parts. And I just think, like, that's a cool theme to continue. And I like it as a part of children's programming. Like, that's a cool thing to be able to, like, kind of keep reinforcing.
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, that is something that has carried over to even, like, the first poster for the new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. Like, the slogan on it said "Stronger Together," which is, like, yeah, like, it's all about teamwork and friendship and, like, teens. The three strongest power in the universe.
I love it. So they like jump down and Sasuke attacks them. And it's 5-on-1, but Sasuke's actually doing fairly well. Like, this is not completely a one-sided fight.
Yeah, but, like, it is not going super well. He is able to, survive, but he's not really making any particular headway.
He's losing very slowly, which, 5-on-1, like, that's a pretty good job. So we flash from there to the Rangers, who have found the construction site. I am assuming, and they go right over to the Charger. So I think this confirms what we have assumed before, is that the Doron, I said Charger again. Sorry, it's Charger all through my notes. So they find the Doron changer, which I think reinforces for us the idea that we've mentioned before, which is just, it has to have some sort of tracking function.
Right, which I guess, sure, why not? Makes as much sense as anything, and it helps sort of situations like this. Particularly since this show was made in 1994, and they didn't have GPS and cell phones, so it was all sort of put into their communication device.
Yeah.
So they find the Doron changer, and they pick it up, like, oh, we need to get this and find Sasuke and put them all back together. And then they get jumped by a bunch of Dorodoros. But, you don't actually see the fight. It's just that is the end of that scene. And then we smash cut back to Sasuke fighting in a quarry. Now, if we haven't mentioned it yet, and I don't think that we have, when the Kunoichi-Gumi transformed into their, Sentai, their super forms, we got a new song. And I think it's the Kunoichi-Gumi's theme, and it's kind of jazzy, and it's got a sort of a clarinet thing going in the background. It's great.
It is. There is actually something that I kind of dig about the fact that we don't see the fight between the Rangers and the Dorodoros. Is that, to me, that tells us that the Rangers have leveled up. That it is no longer worth it's no longer worth showing the fight between Rangers and a handful of Dorodoros, because it's no, they're going to win, and then we'll catch up when they're doing something interesting. It's no longer interesting to watch them fight Dorodoros, which I thought maybe I'm reading a bit into that. But I think that's kind of what we do.
Yeah. Even if that's not what was intended, I think that is at least a fun interpretation of it.
Okay. So we're back to the quarry.
Oh, yeah. And the Kunoichi-Gumi are now pulling out some special moves.
Yeah. So they do a flower attack, which is just exploding glitter. And they do a flower bomb,
which is literally just a bomb.
Just a bomb. And so Sasuke is now, Shinichi is gone. We're not sure where he is. But Sasuke is looking pretty rough. He's down at the bottom of this hill. And the Kunoichi-Gumi are sort of walk sliding down the loose rubble of this hill. And they are approaching for the kill. This is it.
Right. And he's like, Sasuke, what can I do? This is the end of it. If something doesn't happen soon, if nobody shows up to help me soon, this is the end.
This is it. So This is where this episode goes from pretty good to amazing.
Yeah, stuff's about to get buck wild. Because they declare that it is time to kill Sasuke in the manner in which he deserves. And do you know what that manner is, Dave?
Well, I do, because I watched the episode.
Well, why don't you tell our dear listeners?
So the manner in which he deserves to die is they have a missile, guys. They have a Kunoichi missile. So they gesture off to the side, and there's just a missile. I want to be clear, not a rocket, a missile large enough for people to ride. 2 people, in fact, to ride on. How do you know, Dave, that it's large enough for 2 people to ride on?
Very good
because
question.
That is immediately, great question. That's immediately what the Kunoichi-Gumi do. So this missile launches. They jump. 2 of them jump on it. Once they are on the missile, one of them has a machine gun.
Yes.
And one of them has a grenade launcher. And they are just riding this missile around, shooting at Sasuke.
Which is, it's such a good look. 2 crazy, lady ninjas in full superhero costume riding a missile with guns. And by the way, this missile, they did some branding on this missile, because this missile is the K1, the Kunoichi-Gumi 1. Also, there are colored stripes on it, 1 stripe for each of the Kunoichi-Gumi. It's tremendous.
Like the degree of detail that they like. I love the idea that someone said, "What if we gave them a missile?" And everyone else said, "Not only like, yeah, sure," but everybody else was into it enough. They're like, "Well, if they're gonna have a missile, it's gotta be like, it's gotta make sense." Like the missile fits within the context of the show in a way that I would not have expected. So, like, Shinichi runs up and he's like, "Sasuke, I'll help you." And so like they're running away together. And then there's an explosion, and Sasuke is like, this is it, man. This is it. We see the Rangers, and they're like running towards, but they're off in a different scene. And Sasuke's like, this is it, man. Like, if something doesn't happen, I'm going to die.
Right. And like a missile is about to hit him in the head. And then we cut to Muteki Shogun.
And this is where it goes from amazing, buck wild, as we said, to... I don't Sublime. Does Sublime work for you, Matt?
It works for me. So we cut away to Muteki Shogun, but he's not the Shogun yet. He is just the ninja castle. The ninja castle stands up and all of like the rubble falls off of it. And you hear Muteki Shogun say to Sasuke, "Do not give up, Sasuke. I entrust you with the flaming Shogun sword."
And then we flash to Sasuke, who has like the handle, and then it does the thing that it does with Muteki Shogun. Now Sasuke needs to use two hands. I mean, like it's shrunk, but it's still gigantic compared to Sasuke. And he uses two hands, but then it does the thing, like fire shoots out of it, and then it's a blade, and then he just has a gigantic, like flaming Daiclave is the best way to say it. Yeah. So the Kunoichi-Gumi attack, he does like a fire slash. They all get like exploded and launched backwards.
Well, because they're on top of a missile, and he cut the missile in half, and it exploded under them. It was so good.
It's incredible. And so the Rangers show up. They give Sasuke his Doron changer, and he says, like, basically, like, all right, now it's on.
What he says specifically, and I know this because I wrote it down in my notes, is it's payback time. Justice will prevail.
Oh, yeah, Justice. Well, I do have that. So the Dorodoros attack, and Sasuke is just swinging around this giant flaming sword. Like, it's not... And this, like, predates special... Like, it's a practical effect. This is a literal prop that's literally on fire, and he's just swinging around. It's incredible.
What's really cool is so we're in this big fight, right? So, like, all of the different Kakurangers are fighting either, like, Kunoichi-Gumi or... a bunch of Dorons, and it's cutting around in the fight. When it gets back to Sasuke, because everyone else is fighting in the quarry, but when it gets to Sasuke, like it's very clearly being filmed like on a soundstage, because like it's a black background, and I don't know if they needed to do that so that like if someone accidentally got hit with fire, they were like in a controlled environment, or if it's just a cool way to have that black background to really make the flaming sword pop. Like against it, but it looks great.
Probably.
Oh, also
those are true.
You know how sometimes...
Did you catch Matt?
Oh, I'm
yes.
sorry.
Yes. Yeah. No. Please.
Are we talking about the same thing here? Because
I think we are.
I know.
So sometimes, guys, and again, this is like we've mentioned it a couple of times, but when the Rangers do attacks, like if they throw shuriken, it'll just say in like Batman 66 style, like shuriken, or like kick or something, right?
Yes. And in this instance, when Sasuke starts murdering people with a flaming sword, it just has this giant word that comes across the screen that it's all like, the letters are all stylized to look like flames, and it just says, "Fire!" with an exclamation point.
And a bunch of eyes. So the Kunoichi-Gumi are beaten back. Sasuke does Muteki Shogun's like finishing move, where he does like the giant slash and there's an explosion, and so... The Kunoichi-Gumi don't die.
Yeah, and I think he refers to it, by the way, as the Flaming Shogun Wave.
Yes, I think that's right.
Which I don't know if that's what it's always been called.
I hope so, dude. That's a great name. They don't actually... I don't think they've given it a name. They just kind of does it.
Well, I mean, previously, Muteki Shogun does not usually speak aloud.
Yeah, that was... I really want to know what's up with that, because as far as I know, like that's pretty unique in like the context. Like, not giant robots don't generally speak; they're just kind of there.
Well, I mean, you haven't seen Zyuranger. In Zyuranger, those things talk all the time.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, maybe it's a little less like out of the ordinary than I thought. But so the Kunoichi-Gumi, they're not dead, but they are definitely defeated, and so they're like, "We'll get you next time, Gadget," and they fade out. And then Sasuke just like collapses like to his knees, which I dig because a lot of the time it seems like even if the Rangers are hurt when they henge, they seem to be fine. And I dig the idea that Sasuke is like, no, he won, but like that dude is at the end of his rope. Like that was it.
Right. It has been a rough day for Sasuke. He never even got a chance to eat his lunch.
Low blood sugar. Dangerous.
The most dangerous thing he has faced all day.
So
Hypoglycemia.
Shinichi runs up. He's like, oh, Sasuke, you're safe. And Sasuke says, oh, good, Shinichi, you're safe. Cool. And then that actually, it's kind of an abrupt end to this episode because that's just sort of it. That's the end of the thing.
Yeah, we get a brief cut over to the narrator who's like, well, they won, but, you know, they've got to do this again next week, so good luck to them.
Right. That's all we get.
And that is it for the episode. Dave, do you have any sort of final thoughts on this? We're not going to go to the Creature Royale because nobody died.
I don't have a ton, just that it was just a killer episode. Like I'm just so psyched about how good Kakuranger is turning out to be.
I did check actually, Dave, and you know, this is something that I keep meaning to look at, but I never get around to. But the guy who wrote this episode is also the guy who wrote the previous episode, The Hellish Trap in Darkness. So maybe it's just like that dude is on a roll. And I don't know if he's also writing next week's episode, but I hope he is because these two have been great.
Yeah, really, really excellent.
But I think that is going to do it for another episode of A View to a Kakuranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. If you want to get any updates on future episodes or check out the things we're talking about on Twitter, we are at Super Sentai Bros. If you like the show, please remember that shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. Please give us a rate and a review. That's really going to help other people find the show. These Super Sentai Brothers are a production of Retrograde Orbit Radio. To listen to all the other great Retrograde Orbit Radio shows, you can find them at retrogradeorbitradio.com. Once again, we're the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next week for the greatest show on Earth. Yeah, we're still doing that. Calculate.